I might be wildly off base here, but when I look at footage of Devin Haney and Regis Prograis, I just can't see anything other than a victory for Haney. And I'm going to go as far as to say that if Regis pulls off the upset next Saturday, I'm going to be shocked. Now, the reason why I think that is because, number one, Regis has shown, in my opinion, significant deterioration in his last couple of fights compared with the guy who fought Josh Kelly 4 years ago. What I'm talking about is, if you see him against Zarria, he's swinging, he's getting out of position, he's moving more slowly than he used to, he's developed all sorts of bad habits, so he doesn't look like the same fighter. But even if he brings his best, is that going to be enough to win? Well, I'm not sure. And the reason why I don't think so is because Regis' game plan revolves around trying to draw the opponent out of position, trying to be very hard to hit himself, using a lot of feints, moving in and out of range, and then picking his shots with the goal of either getting a points decision or a KO in the mid to late rounds. Now, the problem is that game plan is going to be very hard to execute against Devin Haney, because Devin Haney is a very, very safety-conscious fighter who doesn't want to be drawn out of position himself, and he actually spends a lot of time trying to feint his opponent out of position. He's not going to be just rushing in. He's not going to be biting on all of these feints. And the other thing is, he's got really, really long arms. And what that means is he doesn't need to try and bite on any fakes. He doesn't need to really rush in. He can sit on the outside. He can use his significant reach advantage to keep Prograis on the outside on the end of his jab. And that's going to force Regis to have to try and get underneath and come onto the inside. But if he does that, Devin Haney's then going to be able to do something else, which he's very good at, which is clinching, holding, and using all kinds of spoiling tactics to neutralize his opponent's effective ability to fight on the inside. So you combine those two things together, the fact that Devin Haney is not going to be biting on all of these fakes, he's got long reach, a good jab, and he can spoil on the inside. It's really hard for me to see what Regis is going to actually be able to do to win this fight. I find it very hard to believe he's going to get a knockout victory because Devin Haney, he's young. He seems reasonably tough. I've never seen him in any kind of situation where he looked like he was going to get knocked out. And on top of that, he's very, very difficult to hit. So if you can't hit him, and even if you do, you can't hurt him, and he's very good at spoiling, I can't see Regis Prograis getting a knockout, and I can't see him getting a points victory either, because number one, he's going to have to deal with that jab. Number two, he's going to have to up the volume that he throws significantly, because admittedly, when he fought a couple of years ago, he had fast feet, he had fast hands, he threw good combinations, but I didn't see any of that in his last fight. I saw him slowing down and not throwing enough volume, and he actually came close to potentially even losing his last fight on the scorecards. If he does the same thing against Devin Haney, he's going to need to throw a lot more volume, in my opinion. I don't know if he can do that anymore. And the other thing is that his opponents have been significantly worse than Haney's over the last couple of years, because if you look at who Devin's been fighting, Lomachenko, George Gambosis twice. He fought Jojo Diaz before that. These are all better than the names that Prograis has fought over the same period of time. And in my opinion, really, the last time Prograis fought a world-class opponent was 4 years ago. And I think, number one, that's allowed him to develop a lot of bad habits. And number two, I think it's also made him look more impressive than he actually is, because when the other guy in the ring with you is not causing you to have to really dig too deep into your bag of tricks, he's not presenting you with a lot of problems, then it's easy to show off these skills and look really impressive. But the reality is he picked up 2 world titles against guys that are not nearly on Devin Haney's level. And one of the fights against Zapata, the title was vacant. So it's a big difference between that and an undisputed champion who's moving up in weight. And speaking of moving up, I actually think that's probably going to help Devin Haney here, because he's already got the long arms, he's already got the big frame, but instead of having to cut an extra 5 pounds to make 135, he's actually going to have to only cut down to 140, which I think is going to be easier for him. I think it's actually probably going to make Devin Haney perform better, not worse. And I wouldn't be surprised if when you see both guys next to each other in the ring, if Devin Haney actually looks potentially even bigger than Prograis. So add all of that together, and I'm just really not seeing how the promotion for this fight is having it as a really competitive fight where either guy can win. In my estimation, it's going to probably be a fairly easy and routine victory for Devin Haney. Now, if I'm wrong, I will come on here and I will praise Regis Prograis and I will eat my words. So let me know in the comments if you think Prograis is going to win this fight and how he's going to do it. But I'm predicting Devin Haney to win this convincingly on the scorecards. It's going to be a points victory for Devin Haney, and I just can't see it going any other way because I don't think Prograis can hurt him. I don't think he can outscore him on the scorecards, and I don't think he's going to be bringing his best game against a guy who, in my opinion, has still continued to improve and has not peaked even now. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. Are you going with Devin Haney like me, or do you think Regis Prograis has a real chance to win this, to pull off the upset, and you think I'm completely underestimating him? If that's the case, let me know in the comments. I will catch you guys in the next video, and I appreciate all of you for watching. Thanks again.